Ladies and gentlemen, Todd MacFarlane.
Okay. No. Guys. Gee, I mean, it's like Johnny Carson. Okay, we're here today because we've got a big group of people out here that collect comic books, that have been collecting comic books for a lot of years. I collect for a lot of years. I get to now draw them professionally, which is a great living. But we're going to try and give you a little bit of insight into why we do what we do. I think a lot of people are always stunned when they hear the prices of baseball cards, what they went for, and stamps and paintings, and they don't quite get it, even though they might collect like pigs or something like that. And we don't quite get why you guys collect pigs. But we're gonna tell you why we do what we do, how we do what we do, open it up to the audience, and we're going to share our thoughts on why comic books is the greatest business out there right now. The character that we're doing right now is called Spawn. We got a big placard up there. Character I designed 15 years ago, roughly 1979, 1980. I created him, put him in my portfolio, and never pulled him out. Now, I know all you guys out here that are future artist wannabes, you guys have got like reams of notepads that have your drawings on it, right? Don't tell me you haven't created like about 200 characters. Well, I used to do the exact same thing, and when I put them in my portfolio, I just never pulled them out. While I was working in Marvel comic books and DC comic books, I didn't feel that the system was set up such that I felt all that energetic to like create stuff and give it to people and let them own all the rights and the copyrights. One of the reasons why Image Comics exists today is because some of the artists are trying to take back what we feel is ours, and you know, we feel that we're a little bit bigger part of the package than the big system and the companies want. Let's go over some of the, like a how-to. Well, probably the 2 or 3 questions I get asked more than anything else, and you guys are always asking it. All you guys is that sometime you guys want to break into comic books. You know, either as, writing, as coloring, as lettering, as inking, whatever. And people always say, how do you break into comic books? Well, I'm going to give you how I broke into comic books, how I think you can break into comic books. That's only my opinion. There's 5,000 other guys that are doing comic books. You should go get their opinion because they've got another story and whatever else. I started sending samples off when I was going to college. And when I was going to college, I would send off like about 75 packages a month. And what I would do is I'd make a big chart because I was real psychotic. And I made a chart on who sent me back replies. Good, bad, or indifferent. I didn't care. See, the guy who goes, I sent off a sample and I got a rejection letter. Buddy, I got a sack. I'm telling you guys, a sack at home that's got over 300 rejection letters. And it goes, you aren't very good. You'll never be in a comic book. Sign, John Byrne. Wow, I got John Byrne's autograph. Oh, Terry, I got more autographs that say, you suck, Todd. Then I go, oh, cool. I just like cut out the letter and I got like their autograph. But it's an easy way to get autographs, sending off samples. But you got to be diligent. It took me a year and a half. I know some guys, there's some guys like Art Adams that were so talented at the beginning, got in like in months. But the average guy takes like a year to 3 years to break in. Comic books is no different than any other occupation. You just got to beat the pavement. You got to tell them why they should hire you, give them all the reasons why they should hire you, and just keep coming back in their face. I honestly believe that they hired me because 800 packages later, they got sick of my packages. And they go, instead of 75 packages a month, give the kid a job. We only get 1 package a month. You know what I mean? I think I was just so much a pest. They just gave me a job because when I got my first job at Marvel comic books, I'm drawing, and I tell people, send your samples to every single editor in the business. And the reason is you only got to find one guy that'll give you a job, right? The process, the rundown of doing a comic books, just to break it down, is you have a writer, you have a penciler, you have an inker, you have a colorist, you have a letterer, and you have an editor. You mix all those people together, you get a comic book. If you look at the credits, on the inside of the comic books, if you look at the credits, that's who they generally list. Now, some people do more than one job. I do 3 jobs. I write, pencil, and ink, so the list of credits is a little bit smaller in our book. But what you're going to do, the average comic book goes something like this. You come up with the story. So you're doing Rutabaga Man. Okay, so the writer sits down and he comes up with a plot for Rutabaga Man. Okay, now the plot can consist of anything from 1 page to 5 or 10 pages, and all it is a general outline of what we do. So I take the plot and I go, oh, okay, Johnny comes in the door, says hi to his grandma, and sits down on the couch. I think I can make that 1 page. So, and what I usually did is I would get like 4 or 5 page plots, and because we need a 22-page comic book, then I just kind of ticked off at the bottom of each page that I had to be at page 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and then wrap it up on the last half a page, and I generally got through 22 pages. After the plot's done, and they give me because I was a penciler, they give me a rough idea what the story's all about. They don't do the dialogue, they just give you a rough idea. Once they give it back to me as a penciler, I've got to like put pictures to this. And this is where, as the artist, you actually get to like put the pressure back on them. The plot puts the pressure on you. When you do the drawing, you put the pressure back on them. So you give a writer 9 panels. That's those little boxes on each page. You give them 9 panels, they're going to write in every one of those 9 panels. You give them 2, and they somehow seem to write the book in 2 panels. So I just started going, I'm only going to give them 3 panels. I'll make one of them real big just because I like to draw big panels. I was getting tired of drawing small stuff. But after I break it down, we send it back, when I've got all the drawings, we send it back to the writer who gave me the plot in the first place. He will now look at my drawings and go, okay, I'm going to put this in their mouth and this and this. He had a rough idea what he was going to put, but what he can do now is if I had somebody saying, please pass the tea, and they were going, then hopefully they put something real happy in it, you know, because otherwise I wasted my time drawing a smile. If you do a scowl, or if you show somebody standing there like this where the body English comes in, then hopefully the writer will pick up on that and will write something that's appropriate to what you drew. After the writer writes the books from my drawings or any other artist's drawings, they type up a script with all the words, not unlike what a movie script would look like. They then send the drawing pages and they send the script to the letterer. Now the letterer is the guy who does the word balloons, and that's another whole specific category, that there are guys that literally just do the lettering on it. They put in those word balloons and the sound effects and everything else. We get the sound effects, I get the pages back, or somebody that's inking it. I now have a page with drawings and word balloons. I get my ink, I go in there, I ink over the pencils, I make it a finished black and white product, and then we send it to the colorist. They make color seps, and they do it on Xeroxes. They ship it all off to the printer, and lo and behold, you've got 500,000 comic books printed up, and they're all over the place. So they get them across the country. I mean, right now we're in I think in 12 countries right now, and I'm sure Marvel and DC are even more than that. That the process works. It's not as complicated as it sounds. It actually works pretty smoothly. The paper size that we use is 10 by 15. So for any of you guys out there who want to break in doing artwork, we use 10 by 15. If you're an artist, then you want to do what we call plot synopsis. Don't write a script, just write like a 1-page story about something, and then when you're handing that to editors, because the editors are the ones who give you the jobs, they're going to look at that, and they want something they can read like in 5 seconds. They don't want like a 3-page thing because they don't have time to read 3 pages right there on the spot. So give them something short, and if they like what they see short, they'll usually ask you to expand on it. If you're an inker, the 2 things that we do inking is you either use a brush or you use a pen. And right now, a pen seems to be pretty popular amongst some of the young kids right now. But the pens that we use, I'll just do a big diagram here. Hopefully we can get it on the screen here. The pens that we use are these little fountain pens. You know, you dip into the inkwells, and they're the ones that kind of look like a little teardrop like this. And then they have like a little feather line in here. And here's the holder, and here's the pen tip right here. The pain in the rear at that is that, I mean, you draw 2 lines, you got to dip. You draw 2 lines, you got to dip. But you can get a real fine line with those things right there. The other tool that they use is just your standard sable brush. And the sable brush, there's a lot of guys still use the sable brush. I've never been able to conquer that, so I've always been amazed at the guys that can handle the brush as well as the pin. The pin will give you a line this thin, or will give you a line this thick from this same tool right here, which is why I like to use it so that I can vary my weights and never have to switch it. Lettering, when they letter, they use speedball tips, which are almost the same thing, but they got little nibs like that. So if you're into doing lettering or sound effects, then get some speedball tips, and that's how that works right there. When we finally get the whole package put together, then besides getting a package together, we got to put something down there that we think is going to sell, because if we don't sell comic books and you guys don't buy comic books, then everybody's out of business. So some of the thinking that goes behind it is, well, what are we going to put inside those pages? That's why I like to draw big stuff. I always tell people, I can't teach you a style. It's the toughest thing in the world. I can't teach you really to draw better, because they would tell me how to draw like Michelangelo, and I can't draw like Michelangelo, so I'm not going to tell anybody how to draw like Michelangelo. The only thing you can do is, when you're doing bodies, that there's a few samples and a few simple rules that you can follow, and once you run some of the anatomy down like this looks like a big W right here, okay? Well, that W right there is the rule that you use for doing the chest. And as long as you say, here's the chest here, here's the collarbone, here's the biceps, this would be the shoulder, here would be the biceps here, here's the other shoulder, here comes the biceps here. The chest muscles right here always run into the biceps right here, always. I mean, look at your arms, look at my arms right here. This line here will run right into my chest. And the only reason I say pay attention to the W rule is because when you lift your hand and you move your hand, and that's what makes comic books cool, and you move them all around, that I can now take that W and I can make it like this and like this. And that means he's got his arm raised, but I know that this is still the bicep, which is the same line here, and here's the shoulder, and here's this, and I still got the shoulder and the other bicep right here. And it runs, and like here would be his rib cage here, and then his belly down in here. But that same flow works there, because one of the problems that I find a lot of young people have when they're doing their samples is that they stick anatomy like it looks like it just got stuck and it's not in the right place. So if you can tie something together there, if you're doing legs, you can run the legs together with muscles. You know, like if you look at your own leg, you'll see that like the inside muscle right before the kneecap is lower than the outside one. So when we draw like legs, I don't know if we can get a close-up of this here, but if here's the kneecap here, if I make this low, then I know that's the inside, so I'll make this one a little bit higher up in here, and this goes into the groin area, and then we come in here with the calf up in here. And it's just a matter of, for the most part, just running everything kind of into each other. We also like to put like posters and comic books and any other kind of gimmicky stuff right now seems to be kind of hot. Some of it's not even gimmicks. Jim Valentino just did the cover of the Shadowhawk. You guys get the chance to see that? So to me, that's not a gimmick, because it's not forcing you to buy more than one copy. It's just one cool cover, you know? I don't mind guys that want to use Dayglow, fold-out gate covers. There's not like 8 parts to it. When we did the Spider-Man, you know, some of the people marketing did multiples of it. I'm not really all that excited about it. But some people like to collect all the variations. They get like a black cover and a green cover and a gold cover, and that will be the exact same comic book for the most part, except for something small, sometimes big, will be different, and they've got all the variations that are in the comic book. The other thing that I have people come up to me and say is, like they'll see like Spawn #1, and it's got like 1, and it says May 1 on there. The one is the first issue, right? Now, we've been collecting for a while, so we know that, okay? But some people haven't been collecting, are somewhat confused. They think that it came out on May 1st. And then, like, of course, the June 2 book, they think it came out on June 2nd, and so on. And so, you know, until you get to, like, issue 32, and then they're stumped, you know? How can it be 32 days in a month? No. That's why you've got issues like Batman that are up over 500, Superman that are over 500, other books that are in their hundreds, and stuff like that. It's just a way for us to tell you whether you missed a book if you want to collect them all in sequence or whatever you're doing with that. Some of the other things we do, we buy the backing boards. We preserve our comic books. I'm sure most of you guys here will preserve your comic books. I think there's various reasons why we do that. Some for value, some just because we want to keep them around for a while, and some we want to give to our kids. I mean, there's 100 reasons why. Some people collect more to speculate. I don't think speculating is a bad thing. And some people collect just for the sake of collecting, and they bend up their comic book and they ram it in their back pocket. That's cool too. It's not for me, or I don't think anybody else to tell you what to do with your comic books. When you guys plunk down your money, you guys should be entitled to do whatever you want with that comic book and get whatever satisfaction that you need out of that. I think right now what we could do is, I think some of the viewers out there would probably, I'd like to bring up some of the people from the audience up here to the podium. We can bring you guys into this. I think they'd like to get more of a sense of like why you guys are collecting right now. Somebody come up to this podium right here and like tell me like what it is and why it is that you guys like are into comic books. If you don't come to the podium, I'm going to pull you out and you're going to have to answer anyway. I just like to get a little bit of an insight and share with the camera a bit. Basically, what do you get out of comic books? I think that would answer a lot of questions like why are you even here in the first place? And your answer is correct because it's right for you. So what's your name?
AJ.
AJ?
Frey.
Okay. Give me, why are you here today?
I enjoy comic books. I've been collecting for about 5 years, and ever since I was a little kid, I've been in like Superman and stuff, and watching Super Friends on TV and stuff, the cartoon. And
so you felt, so it was, you were exposed to it on animation and just kind of was an extension to it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question here. Okay, I'm a big kid, okay? Now my wife's a biology teacher, and she doesn't quite get, like when she comes home at the end of the day from teaching, that I did like this page right here, okay? I don't know if we can get the camera on this page right here. This is the Violator, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know, to me, he's cool. Do you like those monsters?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, how old are you anyways?
16.
16. Let me ask you a question. We got a problem sometimes with moms and dads and censorship and stuff like that. You know, too much violence. I'm one of those guys who will argue to the death that just doesn't work. 'Cause you know what? You're 16. I bet you when you were, I can get this kid right here. Actually, let's get this kid right here. You come up to the podium right here, bud. What's your name?
Alex.
Alex? How old are you, Alex?
I'm 11.
Okay, you stuttered on that one. 11, that's perfect. Okay, 11's even better than 16. See this guy right here? He's a 7-foot iguana monster that goes around killing mafia dudes, right? As an 11-year-old, please answer this to the nation. Do you think that guy exists out there? Did we get a close-up? I hope we got a close-up of that head nod. Does he make you want to go out there and like rip people's hearts out?
No.
But he's cool, right?
Yeah.
You know what, moms and dads, I'm sorry, but see, when Bugs Bunny pulls the trigger on Elmer Fudd and blows his heads up, they know that's a cartoon. When they see a giant 7-foot monster, they know it's a comic book. And when they go see the movie Aliens, they know it's not real in their mind, you know? And I wish that some of the adults out there would give the kids a little more credit that they actually know what's real and what's not real, and comic books aren't really destroying this country. Okay, thanks, bud. Come on up. Give me some insight into comic books. Your name, sir?
I'm Salim.
Salim.
Yes.
Good to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you too. I've been drawing ever since I was like 5 or 6.
Okay.
But I wasn't drawing any fantasy characters. I draw things like things I saw, like maybe Robotech or Voltron or something. And then ever since I saw comic books and started collecting them, I decided that I wanted to try to draw for a comic book company. I wanted to know how did you get started in drawing, and where did you get your imagination drawn?
Okay, here, let me just give you the little spiel, and you're gonna go ask some other people here at the convention. They're gonna tell you the exact opposite. So that's okay, because I'm just giving you my opinion. learn to draw from comic books. That gives people a heart attack. You know what I mean? They all say, learn to life, learn from life, learn from life. Forget it. That's just my opinion. Forget it. You know why? Because you know what makes comic books the coolest? Stuff that's not real, okay? Now, when you pick up a comic book that you like, the little 11-year-old right here, he likes this comic book. He doesn't sit there and pick that thing open and go, those are incredibly well-detailed bricks on that building, you know? Look at the detail of that fawn and that fawning and that tree, and look at the gate railing, and look at that exquisite Italian architecture. No, you know what they go? Oh my gosh, look at that bazooka that weighs 9,000 pounds. Look at that violator that's got fangs out to here and a tongue down to here. Oh my gosh, look at that guy getting blown through that window out of a spaceship. The things that make comic books cool, superhero comic books, not some of the other stuff, superhero comic books are not taken from life, okay? But you know what? If you can just draw a cool Superman and bad trees, you got a job. You draw great bushes and a bad Superman, I'm sorry, you're not in this business, because we're here to like get in your face. And I mean, I've yet to have somebody come up to me and go, Todd, I love those Buick 57s. You know, I don't care about the cars. They care about that Spawn character coming up there with the cape that's 97 feet long. I mean, that's not natural. You know, look at this one with him jumping down. Get a close-up of this one behind me here. That's not natural clothing. But you know what? That looks cool. I'm sorry to say. It's flowing. It looks like wings. I mean, what, you know, something's happening there. So comic books also inspire you to draw more. You can go into either art school, you can go into a tech school. I always tell people go into tech school because they teach you practical stuff. You can come out, if you don't get into comic books, you can do, you've got a degree that like lines you up for stuff. Anything to prompt somebody to take on a vocation or a job, I also think, Mom, Dad, that's good, you know? And if we're prompting them in any way to say, yeah, I want to be a writer, I want to learn to write better, I think that's good. So, thanks. And we're going to have our last little guest, little Johnny Pumpkinhead. Come on up here. Now, do we got a camera on him? What's your name?
Mike.
Mike?
Yeah.
I think this guy likes comic books. Look at this hat. This guy's hat weighs more than my daughter right now. So that's cool. And he's got 3 image buttons. I don't see this. Oh, and a spawn button. Oh, he's got the. Oh, and he's got spawn button. This kid's cool. Okay. Now, tell me why you're here.
Okay, well, I got started.
How old are you anyway? Excuse me.
I'm 13.
13. Perfect.
Yeah. I got started about a year and a half ago, and my best friend, he was like totally into it, and he's like trying to get me into it. I'm all, yeah, I like baseball cards.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So then finally he like keeps bugging me enough, and I buy a comic, you know, buy 2, you know, then it just keeps spreading. It started in the Spider-Mans, and then.
So you're a comic book junkie is what you're telling me right now.
Yeah, I got
You're hooked right now.
Yeah.
Where do you kids get your money? I mean, I'm seeing kids. I mean, you guys got bigger bills than I do. Coming like, where are you guys getting your money from? I mean, my book's $1.95. That's not cheap. The average comic book's around $1.25 to $2 right now. Yeah. If you collect 10 or 20, I mean, you're up to 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks in a month. Yeah, I gotta know this question. Where do you guys get that cash from? Is there just a lot of generous moms and dads out there? Or what?
Well,
or is there some cute grandmas and grandpas that are generous at birthdays or what?
No, I like babysit for $5 an hour, and then you know, and then I go and mow lawns and.
Moms, do you hear this guy? That's responsible. Comic books is teaching him to be responsible. That's good. I like that. He's mowing the neighbor's lawn and babysitting the kids. Don't leave any spare change around. He'll probably pilfer that while he's babysitting. But this kid is out there making an honest living at 13 so he can go get comic books. So I don't see any bad in comic books. We're going to end up wrapping up. I'm going to do a little quick sketch. I want to thank you, the audience, for right now, for coming up and sharing your thoughts, and I appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, bud. Okay, what we're going to do is, I'm sure you guys have seen all the drawings. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give away one of my classic secrets here. Toddy? Yes? How do you do those capes? You know what I mean? You got to have a style in this business. So I always tell people, and it's no good if you copy this thing now, because I already beat you to it, so you're just going to make me look good if you continue it. When you're drawing, the toughest thing to do is to come up with a style, okay? If you can show somebody your artwork and they go, oh, that's Joe Smoley, oh, that's Roger Potato Man, oh, that's the best thing that can happen to you, is that people recognize your stuff. I don't care if they hate my stuff. You know why? The worst thing in life is that they don't react to you. Now, when you're going to try and come up with a style, everybody should come up with one thing, at least, that they do better than anybody else, or at least different than anybody else. So if you're going to break into business, then work on doing the best eyeballs, work on doing the best hands, the best kneecaps. I don't care what it is, the best trees. I wouldn't take that one, but, you know, whatever. But I like to draw capes, and I'm going to tell you how I draw capes here. If you take, the average guy draws a cape. Okay, this isn't going to be very good, guys, so give me a break. We're down to the wire here. Here's Super Dude, okay? San Diego Super Dude. Okay, now, most people when they did their capes with this guy did it. They do those little squiggles. Nah. You know how I do my capes? You guys ever made paper airplanes? I'm sure you all have. Throw one from the 30th floor. It's really cool. The air makes it go up. My capes are not cloth. My capes are paper, and they're paper airplanes. So that's why I've got spikes on everything. So what I'm doing in most places is just folding the cape. I'm pretending that there's 97 gallons of starch in it, and I'm just going to go fold, 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 and it sits there stiff as a board. So I draw the old Super Dude here. Dun, 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 dun. He's got a grin because he's going to get the bad guy. And he's got his cape here, and we even give him one of these little thingamajiggers like the big Spawn Meister. Okay, we got him here. When I draw that cape, a lot of times I just draw squiggles and then I connect them later. So I'll go, okay, I know that I got to come from the shoulder up in here a bit, and then I literally just go, and then I come in here with this one, and I come in here, and I go like this, and then I'll come up in here like this. It doesn't look like nothing, I guarantee it right now. But then what I have to do is go, Toddy, you better I put the pressure on myself. And I go, you're going to have to somehow make that come up here, and then this one is going to have to fold up here. We'll maybe make this black because that's on the inside here. I'll go like this. This one here, I can connect up here. Since all of them are originating from a certain point, I can feather them all down this way like this. Make some go underneath others. You can go like this. And we can get this where you can make it look like it's twisting in and of itself. And then you just kind of fill in the gaps and make some black ones someplace else. If you're going to do one cutting over, then I like to put like a shadow in there so it looks like that it's actually above, flipping up and over on one. I'll usually make the inside ones black or something like that. Let's see if we tie this one here, 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 here. If I was to make this black, and this black, and this black, and this black, we have, and I do it with a lot more detail, and I take my time a little bit more, but there'd be a wrinkle here on his back. He is standing there, and he's got a cape that's flowing all over the place. Is it real? No. Does it look cool? You betcha it does. So thanks for your time, and we're going to get out of here. Okay, what we're going to do here to end this up, hopefully to put some of the information I've given you into a more clear picture, we're going to actually show you some of the stuff that we've done. If we get a close-up on here, I write and I pencil and I ink my own comic book, so I do things a little bit different than a lot of people. What I usually do is like number a page from 1 to 22, because I do 22 pages of comic book. Write myself, I mean, I already know in my mind what the story is, so I don't really give myself a big detailed plot to myself. Give myself one sentence for each page that says the killer Flash is having a good time, blah, blah, blah. And I know what that means in my mind's eye. If you're working with the writer, then you don't have to worry about it because they'll give you a full 3 or 4 pages and they'll really describe everything. If we go to like page 7 here, Page 7, the way that I want to lay it out is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels here. And what we're going to do is we're going to establish, first thing we want to do is establish where we're at. So right here, a lot of times when I'm doing little stick figures, we call these thumbnails, I just give myself a couple of notes so that I can, sometimes when I come back, I don't even know what I drew on there, and I just got to have something to clarify. This is going to be a down shot of a house. I could have made a straight on shot, but I figure we'll come into the house. It's nighttime. We'll come down. Here's mom holding the baby. Here's the baby's crib here, which is what these crossbar lines indicate to me, and I'll have a door behind her. She'll lay the baby down. This would be the baby. Here's the face here. Here's the eyes and the hair and the nose and the mouth. And here's mommy's hand laying her down in the crib here, and I'll put the crib bars back in here and some stuffed toys and stuff like that. She'll walk out of the room thinking about something. Here's the crib here. They'll be in the foreground, and she walks out. She'll be in the background, just to give an illusion of depth again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut to the spawn, who is actually this woman's husband who died 5 years ago and has come back to life. And I'm going to make it so that these two poses right here look the same, so it's kind of like a little bit of a transition and symbolic thing. Now, once I've done these 5 panels here, and I know in my mind what I'm going to do, then it's a matter of fleshing them out, giving myself the detail, and then coming in there and inking it. Since we've only got a few more minutes here, I'm going to skip the roughs. I mean, the roughs are a little bit tighter than this, but here's the page that's 95% done. I still got, you know, about a half an hour still left on this. But this page right here will indicate everything that I put down here. Here's the down shot of the house. I've put in the writing and the word balloons, so we've got all that in there. Here's mom carrying the baby into the crib. I added some stuffed toys. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I always put a Felix the cat, and here's a little Cerebus here. So sometimes some of the quiet panels that don't really have a lot of action, you can have a little bit of fun with by adding things into the background and stuff like that. Mom lays the baby down right here, which is the shot of the little baby sleeping, and I'll put in some extra lines afterwards and dilly in and put the eyebrows on her and the eyelid and stuff, so she's completely detailed up here. Again, the Felix the cat in here, so that there's a continuity of one of the toys is still in the same crib with her. She's got a bottle. Mom leaves. This had to be black. As she leaves, here's the Cerebus toy, which again indicates it's still the same crib from here to here. And then we cut to that same shot. Notice I have the heads pretty much in the same position. And as she says a little prayer for her daughter to have a sweet dreams, sweetheart, then we use that in conjunction here with this panel, so that it almost seems like she's whispering it to her husband, who she doesn't know is alive right now. Again, I got some debris and some garbage back here, and we can put like friends' names or whatever. Frank Miller and Alan Moore are going to be doing some work on Spawn, so you can, like, you know, put people's names in it. And I mean, there's a lot of places to have fun with comic books, but the other thing that you also want to look at too is the way that you put in the blacks. And since this is nighttime scenes, the blacks really add a lot of weight to this page, and then I border it all up in black. And this page looks good enough right now in black and white, and so when we color, it's just going to add that much detail to it, and maybe we'll have a lighting effect coming from this door open up here, and this door is opened up here, and maybe a little bit here, and then he'll probably be mostly in dark. This window can be lit up. There's a lot of different mood things you can do. I'll probably put a tree like up over here or something, but and that essentially is how we go from beginning to end. We write the script, we do the roughs, we come in here, we rough it out in blue pencil, we go get our ink pen, which is the teardrop ones, and we ink it all up, and we get the letters put on it. And after I erase this page and make it nice and clean, because there's, like, when I rough in blue, I get a little bit of dirt on it, and I get a little bit of pencil smudges. So once I take the pencil and I clean it all up, the page looks a lot better for getting it all colored. But essentially, that's what a final page will look like once we finish the whole process. So good luck to you guys out there, and the best of luck to anybody that's trying to break into the business. Take care.